Okay, so we have come to the video entitled Always Act in Love and Support. And at this point, wherever you began, you've been through several videos, so I hope it's going well, and I hope you're absorbing a lot, and I hope you're finding them as useful as we have. There are a few themes that run through several videos, and you'll hear a couple of them hinted at here as well. So, in every possible moment, good teachers try to act from a place of love and support for their students. Now, this is certainly not always easy, and it should be said that this approach is in no way synonymous with being too soft or too easy on students. Not at all. It simply means that no matter what message is being transmitted from teacher to student, from a basic lesson to congratulations to a stern warning, it's done respectfully and from a place of equanimity with the intention of helping and improving young minds. Well, and sometimes adult minds, depending on who you teach. Students can feel what's in their teacher's heart. They know when they're wrong and deserve to be admonished or reprimanded in some way, but they also know when they deserve praise, and they feel disoriented when it doesn't come. In all cases, if students can feel that their teacher cares about them, that becomes the baseline for mutual respect and success. So what this means is that good teachers or experienced teachers never openly, or privately for that matter, challenge students, degrade students, shame students, or malign students. Offering reasonable and previously stated consequences for poor behavior is often necessary, but that's different. You are a public servant as a teacher, and you're called to adhere to a higher standard of behavior. Same is true of police officers, politicians, and civic employees, and we all know examples of these public servants taking advantage of their power and mistreating individuals or groups of people, which should never happen. Like them, you're called to a higher standard of behavior, and abuses should not happen from a teacher's point of view as well, even if they're just emotional or verbal. Obviously, those should not happen. So there are a few ways that teachers can uphold this high standard of fairness and respect when interacting with their students. And here they are. Number one, set up clear class rules and post them in the classroom. Number two, have students sign a behavioral contract stating what's expected of them in the class. Number three, I really like this one. Name your emotions rather than expressing them. In other words, say to a student, I'm feeling a little frustrated because you're repeatedly breaking the class rule of no cursing. Or you could simply say, I think I'm a little tired or stressed today, so I would appreciate a little better cooperation from you. And this really ties into the logic in the video about being an engaging speaker, because respectfully describing your emotions makes you a real person to your students, and it does so in a safe way. Number four is to emphasize cause and effect. In other words, recast the situation from a conflict between you and the student to a simple cause and effect of that student's actions. For instance, you could say, if you curse in class, you get no participation points for the day, and that affects your grade. Or you could say, remember that students who are disrespectful to the teacher get 1 check. After 3 checks, they go to the vice principal's office. And yet, another example would be saying, remember that when you hit another student, then you don't get to go to recess. Do you want to miss recess? And so you could focus on that, sort of the punishment side. You could also focus on the reward side for good behavior by saying something like, everyone with no demerits for the whole day gets to line up first for recess tomorrow. So as you discuss the cause and effect of their actions, you and the student are actually on the same team as you help him or her analyze the logic of their actions and plan for future behavior. And this links directly to the fifth technique that we'll talk about, which is rather than responding to disrespectful students by retaliating with disrespect or anger, just become very businesslike. We've also mentioned this in another video. From that place, it's sort of being in the middle rather than being overly nice or just getting really angry, be businesslike. That can be your default setting for challenging situations. From that place of being businesslike, describe the cause and effect of their actions, and let this tone be your baseline when you have, again, difficult situations with students, rather than ever allowing yourself to drop down to emotions of anger, retaliation, disrespect, or sarcasm. Sarcasm is one that I use, and I try to stop it, and I notice that it comes out. And so we all have our things that we work on. Okay, so let's do a review. At the end of a lot of these, we have a review. This one I think is particularly effective. I would suggest that you actually do this one in writing. So number one, which teachers made the biggest difference in your life? So you can write those down if you care to. You can, of course, do it in your head, but I think these questions are very effective. How did those special teachers treat their students, and what emotions did you feel from them on a daily basis in the classroom? That's very important. Next, which teachers left you feeling uninspired? Which ones did you actively dislike? And then what emotions or messages did these less effective teachers convey to you as a student? What emotions or underlying messages do you think that you express to your own students in class? In what ways do you express to them your level of care for them? In what ways do you convey to them how you feel about your role as their teacher? What specific actions did your favorite teachers do that let you know they cared about you? And how did those great teachers deal with bad behavior? All of these are really, really good questions for mining, good techniques for responding to bad behavior. How can you deal with bad behavior in your classroom more dispassionately? And how can you better convey to your students that they matter to you? These are all good questions, and please share them, as we always suggest, with your online support group if you have joined it. And I think this can be very didactic for everyone involved. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thanks for listening.